Hi, everyone, and welcome to Sandra Cruz Unfiltered. My name is Sandra Cruz, and today I'm going to talk about the divine purpose of trauma. The one question that I get quite often is why? Why did I have to experience this? Why do I have to deal with trauma? Why do I have to be traumatized? And now I have to deal with healing it. That is so unfair. Yeah, when you come from the perspective of the victim, of course, it's terribly unfair. You didn't ask for it, you didn't want it, you didn't do anything that should have caused whatever happened to you, and yet it did. The question is why? What is the purpose? What is the reason for trauma? And in this video today, I am going to shed some light on that. Trauma has been a part of our lives for centuries, millennia. Every generation who is traumatizing the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. And so it continues. We're being raised from trauma. We're being raised by parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who were not able to heal their own trauma. And with their traumatized mindset, they're raising us. And how that usually looks is they're giving us their wisdom from their trauma, their limiting beliefs, their self-sabotaging behavior, their fears and their doubts. That's how we are raised. I'm sure you do have some wise words from your parents or grandparents that seem so constricting or so against freedom, really. Something I grew up with was self-pride stinks. I'm not allowed to be proud of myself because that's bad. But it's very constricting because if you're not allowed to be proud of your accomplishments and because of that, you need the validation from other people, how is that helping you? Because then you're in that box, and that box says, you did amazing, but you better feel guilty because you just felt proud of yourself. Beliefs like that, they come from trauma. And in the last few decades, we have started to heal those beliefs, heal those traumas. People have started to understand they can liberate themselves from the generational and ancestral ties and really step out of this box that the family belief system created, only to realize that they're not true. And that without them, we're completely different people. We are courageous. We are empowered. We are free to make our own mistakes and own them. We are free to learn something that our parents, grandparents never could because their minds were too traumatized. In a way, we are in a trauma healing revolution globally because more and more people are starting to realize where the trauma is coming from. And they're saying, this is not mine. I don't want to carry this on. So, and this is the groundwork that generation before us has started, and we're continuing. Because on an evolutionary level, humanity is ascending, which means we're stepping out of the trauma and into empowerment. And that's where trauma is coming in. Now let's dive a little deeper into why trauma and why is it so important that we go through it, and why is it so important that we heal. First of all, if you had an amazing life, No trauma, no triggers, nothing that really happened. Perfect parents, perfect friends. Everything is just falling in your lap. You would not need to grow. You would not need to heal, which means you would not be able to evolve into the next level of your being. So trauma, in a way, gives you an amazing opportunity. I know some of you will probably look at me like, huh? An opportunity? Where? I get it. Trauma is intense. Trauma sucks. Trauma is difficult and it feels almost hopeless to ever heal. And yet, people do it all the time. And no, they're not stronger than you. No, they're not better than you. No, they haven't found that secret sauce of how to heal trauma. No, they only know that it's possible and they hold on to that. Now, here's the thing. For most of our lives, we are taught that trauma is something you can't heal from, something you can only learn to live with. But that is the belief of the traumatized world, which we are stepping out of. The belief system is crumbling. I have so many clients who come to me and say, well, my therapist said PTSD can't be healed. My therapist said, after years of working with him, he doesn't know what else to do to help me. I went to my counselor and my story that I told him triggered him so much, I had to make sure my counselor was okay. That's horrible. But there's a reason for that. The reason is you can only heal someone as far as you have healed yourself. So if you go into trauma healing and you are still suffering from PTSD, for you there is no cure because you haven't done it yet. So how can you help someone heal through their PTSD when you yourself haven't experienced that yet? So we have a lot of people who are stuck in the belief that deep trauma, PTSD, CPTSD, anxiety, depression, panic attacks cannot be healed, only learned to live with. But that's not true. I do it all the time with my clients. I did it for myself. But I healed my own PTSD. I healed my own deep trauma. So I know it's possible. And so trauma healing does not scare me because I know what lies beyond. I know this amazing life you're going to have once you're fully free of it. And this is the journey. This is the evolution. Now let's take a little deeper look into the subject. We are on a global revolution of trauma healing. More and more people are saying, well, the trauma healing I'm getting from my professionals doesn't cut it. This can't be it. There has to be something else. And yes, there is. But you need to go to those people who have healed the part that you're looking to heal within yourself. Because those people who have already done the work know it's possible. And since they know it's possible, they can actually help you. Which means they're in their own evolution. So now when you think about it, trauma brings with it a lot of heavy energy. Why? Because we have a physical, mental, emotional, and energetic body. In regular trauma healing, you usually only focus on the mind, which is only one aspect. But in order to bring true healing, you have to focus on all of them. So energy healing is something that I have been working with my trauma clients a lot. And it's so amazing how quickly they move through one trigger just by me adding energy healing to it. Just think about that. When you're dealing with trauma, you feel so heavy. You feel mentally exhausted. That's energy. As you release the trigger, you release the traumatic event, the energy releases with it. And so after a trauma healing session, you will feel lighter, not because the trauma is gone, but because the energy connected to the trauma is gone. So, but here's something else that happens while you are releasing that heavy trauma energy. You're not releasing it for yourself and within yourself. By releasing this energy, you're releasing this heavy energy from all of humanity, from the whole world. Because this heavy energy is being released, it's being transmuted into neutrality, and the whole world feels a little lighter. Now imagine if 1 million people healed just one of their traumas, how much more elevated the energy in the world would be. Just give it some thought. Think about it for a moment. And now imagine that you're healing your entire trauma. You're stepping out of your trauma. I can tell you, I've healed my trauma years ago, and I've been on so many podcasts talking about it and sharing my story and giving people hope. And at some point, I started to stumble over my story. I forgot the words. I forgot the segments in which it happened. It took me a while to figure out what that was. Well, the thing is, I'm so detached from my trauma, I stepped into a reality where my trauma doesn't exist. So, which means when you're healing your trauma, you're leaving the traumatized reality and step into a reality where you're not traumatized. And that's where you're going to live in once you're fully healed. There is not going to be limiting beliefs. There is not going to be any fears, any doubts, any self-sabotage because you've healed all that. There's only joy, freedom, balance, and love. That's all that's there. And so your reality is bright, is exciting, it's full of hope and full of possibilities. So now imagine you healed all that, you stepped into the new reality, and this reality is so much lighter because there's all those souls in there who have already done the work and healed their trauma. Let's take another step. Let's go a little deeper. Let's imagine we found some ancestral trauma, ancestral curses, pacts, bindings, contracts in your ancestral line. And we clear that. Clearing that for you clears your whole ancestral line. This means that not only you will be unlinked from the trauma from your ancestral line, but every soul on the planet that were at one point incarnated into your current ancestral line will heal as well. And just by healing one ancestral issue, you are helping to raise the energy of the planet so much that it causes a ripple effect. So really healing your trauma is an opportunity for you for your own growth and evolution, to completely transmute the trauma from your whole family line and making sure that the generations coming after you will have the chance to grow up empowered and trauma-free. So by healing our trauma, we're basically changing the world from being raised in trauma to being raised empowered. Because you can be raised in both. You can be raised from parents with a traumatized mindset, and then you will grow with the traumatizing beliefs. Or you're being raised by a family who has already healed all the trauma and know exactly who they are, standing in their power, being their true authentic selves, and that's what they teach their children. And that changes this negative, gooey thing that we have right now in our reality in the world. Let's call it the matrix, like so many people like that. And we step out of this construct that is supposed to keep us traumatized and easy to control into the reality where there is no trauma. And when you're not traumatized, you can't be controlled. And if you're not traumatized and other people are also not traumatized, they're all empowered, no one wants this control. It's like, yeah, you can always call it utopia. Simply because the mindset of the whole world is changing, there is no need for trauma if we're all our true authentic selves. So when you look at it this way, trauma healing is a gift. Because once you lean into the healing, you're not only healing yourself, transmuting all the negative energy into positive, you are helping humanity ascend into the next level. You help the world rise up in energy, vibrate higher, and step into the next level of consciousness. Well, I do hope you found the subject interesting. I guess you could tell I'm completely into it, and I find this so fascinating. And I hope you do too. And you start thinking about the deeper meaning of trauma and trauma healing, and especially that it's possible to fully heal because the body is self healing. You just have to give it the right environment. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you would like to learn more about me and how I can help you on your journey of healing and evolution, feel free to reach out. I'll leave a link below this video to a free consultation. And always remember, trauma is not a life sentence. You have the power to heal. Bye.